Can you tell me a little bit about what the trucking industry was like then and how you got in? What made you decide to even drive a truck?
Well, I don't think I ever decided to drive a truck. I was always driving.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Gloria Hollins. I'm the administrative assistant here at Real Women in Trucking. I work directly with founder Desiree Wood and the wonderful board members at Real Women in Trucking. Today, I bring to you Miss Idella Hansen. And Miss Idella, can you tell me about yourself?
Well, I'm one of the older ladies in the group. I've been driving 54 years, and I turned 72 in April. So they come to me. I give them credibility.
Tell about you. Surely there's more to you than you're just a seasoned veteran, a legend in trucking.
I've always been a troublemaker.
Okay.
Always doing what everybody else says you're not supposed to do. I love a challenge. I've always loved a challenge. Driving truck was the one thing that my father really didn't think was a good thing to do. And of course, later on in years, he came around to be very proud of me, which I really appreciated. But I've always been, I don't want to say a black sheep, but I've always been doing what nobody else in the family did. So I didn't go into real estate. I was the blue collar worker. I wasn't the money person like the rest of them were. So, and I'm still a blue collar worker and proud of it.
Absolutely, as you should be. So you entered the trucking industry when there weren't nearly as many females as we see now. Can you tell me a little bit about what the trucking industry was like then and how you got in? What made you decide to even drive a truck?
Well, I don't think I ever decided to drive a truck. I was always driving. I started out when I was 11 learning how to drive from the old man across the street so he could go to the roller derby down in Orange County. When I got married, my husband's family had a bulk plant, Union 76 bulk plant. So I started helping wet hose equipment. So it wasn't a matter of deciding. It was just something that came naturally. My husband was a mechanic and a body man, excellent body man. We moved to Arkansas. He bought a dump truck and I ran the dump truck. It was just always something I've done. I've never decided to be a truck driver. I've just always driven. I just always have and don't want to do anything else.
Okay. All right. So tell me a little bit about when you moved from driving dump trucks to actually hauling freight, because you did move into hauling freight, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I moved from hauling rock, what we call rock to the river. I helped build the levees down there in Louisiana and gravel. And I moved into Brazos Transport, which was a flatbed. Moved on to Smithway Motor Express. There's several transitions in there, but I went to pulling flatbed, which was something I had no idea what I was doing. Stepped right on into it and learned as I went. I taught myself how to drive. Hauled chips before that, chips and wood. So moving into the lumber and the flatbed business was just a natural transition. It was different. It was different, going across country. There were so often there wasn't facilities for the females, or there weren't female friendly. So you did what you could and adapted. I've washed my hair at the water faucet out beside the station, a time or two, or three, or four.
Hey, but you know what? As long as you're clean, I think it's better to be a clean human being than a dirty human being if you accomplish it by any means necessary.
Back then, it was a challenge. But there were other challenges too, especially if you were by yourself or running solo, like I did. Like many ladies back in those days, when you walked into the restaurant, it said drivers only, and I've been invited to leave. Although I ran the same routes, so over time that stopped because they got used to me. They knew who I was and what I was doing. But it wasn't. It has not been unusual for me to pull into a place and have the gentleman say, oh, we can't load you. And I'm going, why? Is the load not here? And him saying, oh, I don't have anybody to tie it down for you. Okay, don't remember asking anybody to tie it down for me. Or we don't have somebody to do so-and-so. Real common, real common. I think the one that sticks in my mind the most is Red River Army Depot. And I pulled in there with I had a red and white Western Star, and I had smoke grenades on, and I pulled in and checked in with the guy, and he looked at me and he says, I need the real driver of the truck. He said, I need the driver of the truck. And I looked at him and I says, did you not see me pull up and park and come in? Yes. He said, but I need the real driver of the truck. And I kept saying, I don't understand. I am the driver of the truck. Yeah, but I need the real. I said, there's nobody else in the damn truck but me. Okay. I own the truck. My name's on the title. We got a problem. You need to get your supervisor. But I just couldn't get it past him that I owned the truck and that I was driving it. We had a real argument there for a while. So one that sticks in my mind the most, but it was often, we don't have restrooms, just to be considered on the bottom of the pile. I'd always sit in line first. I'd be first in line, wait all night. And of course would be in desperate need of a restroom. And being as I don't have one of those handy little gadgets you tote on a picnic, I would ask, restroom. Oh, well, we don't have one for you. Okay, well, thank you very much. I'll use the men's restroom if somebody will watch the door. And most of the time they would let me, but it was always an issue. It was always an issue. Restrooms, washing up, comfort, sleeping at the job site so you could be first, because if you weren't first, then you were second or third, and then you weren't so good. You weren't doing your best.
So do you feel as a woman you had to be 200% better than the men in the early days?
I think that's a good description. I had to be there first. I had to do the best and have the least amount of problems.
Okay.
If I did ask for help, or I never asked for help, I would ask, show me how to do it. Now, and I had those that wanted to help. They wanted to do it for me. And pulling flatbed, I had my little tricks, but I would have to say to them, who's going to be there when you're not there? So just show me. I'll do it. Just show me. And when they did help, it always ended up messing up something because I had a routine. I had a specific routine, and thing would get missed. But I never wanted anybody to do the work for me. I'm not one of those cutesy little girls say, oh, can you help me? Show me how to do it. Tell me what to do. Give me a demonstration, whatever, but don't try to do it for me. And I've always been like that. And when it comes to the point that I can't do it, then I'll go do something else. If I'm not doing a good job, whatever it is, and it doesn't have to be truck driving, it doesn't have to be physical. When I'm not doing a good job, then I'll go do something else, or will retire. It's just a matter of pride in your work, no matter what age you are or what you're doing. You got to have pride in your work. And if you can't do it, then you either hire somebody to do it and pay them, or you figure out a way, or you go do something else.
Absolutely. I wish you would say that again and again for the people in the back, especially the generations coming up that don't understand that work ethic. I think that's a ethic that is slowly disintegrating away.
We have lost that. And the only other piece of advice I have for not necessarily females, but drivers, but being helpless isn't cute anymore. Being helpless, oh, I can't do it, it's not cute anymore. That's not the answer. Help me figure out how to do it. And there's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in asking for help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what kind of freight do you haul now?
Okay, I'm going to give you a generalization, because if I actually told you, I'd have to shoot you.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not have to shoot me. I like living. I've got a lot more to see.
I haul extremely high security freight.
Okay, well, we're going to leave it at that, because yes. We know better than to ask those kind of questions.
I am a armed security officer, licensed armed security officer, and I run team with my grandson, and he is an armed security officer, because when we have a secured load on, we can't leave it alone. So that's what I do.
Okay, well, that's the end of that particular question. But can I ask this? Do you enjoy being an armed
Oh,
security officer
absolutely.
and hauling
I
this secret freight?
really shot a gun till I took this job, and I was about 63, 64. And they actually taught me, and I love it. I love it. I'm a decent shot. I mean, I'm not going out to get any awards or anything, but they should never give an old lady a gun. That's a real sense of power. But yes, absolutely. It's not scary. It's just like hauling any other freight. We do a lot of CHR. We do a lot of backhaul, so I haul a lot of different things coming back into the Northeast. But oh, absolutely. And it's not scary. It really isn't. You put it on and you take care of it like you would take care of anything else.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you will never get any backlash out of me about people and the safe use or the necessity for firearms. Unfortunately, I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment and just access to firearms in general.
Yeah,
But smart ownership.
I up until that point, I really had no thoughts about it. I mean, the people in my family like to hunt and they have guns and stuff. I personally had never owned a gun,
Mhm.
but I do now, and it's part of my job. My job requires me to carry a gun, and I like my job, and I like the people I work for. So therefore, before God, go I.
Absolutely. So, if you could pick one thing about this classified job that we really can't talk about, actually, no, we're going to reframe that. If you could pick something you love about being a trucker, what do you love most about being a trucker?
It's my control, the control. When I get in that seat, when I open that door and get in that seat, I'm in control. I'm the boss. Now, I may have a boss at the office and that, but I respect myself. I respect my truck. I'm good at what I do, and I love it. I sit in that seat and I know that I've got this. I've got this. It's not a problem. If there is a problem, I'm a really good problem solver. I consider myself a fireman. I like to put out the fire. So give me a call and I'll help you put out your fire.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, we're going to shift a little bit because this is a Real Women in Trucking interview. And Real Women in Trucking is very specific in addressing some of the issues faced by women in the trucking industry. Um, a lot of times I do these interviews, or a lot of time I read over the material that is sent over from interviews by other members of the board. And you can decline to answer this question. So please understand, you do not have to answer this question if you do not feel comfortable. But have you experienced or witnessed any of the sexual violence or assault or harassment in your workplace, in your industry?
Yes, I have. And sexual harassment knows no gender. It knows no age. It knows no color. Workplace violence and workplace harassment is unacceptable, unacceptable. And I have to say that I did not experience this until I was in my 60s. I was in my mid 60s. It's not something that I can talk about, but yes, ma'am, I sure did. And even though I've driven all this time and had all that experience, I did not handle it well. I did not handle it well. I did not handle it the way I should have. So I reflect back, and I knew that I should have reported it, and I didn't, because for whatever reasons. So in this situation, it knows no age, no color, no gender. And we have to encourage everybody to report, make notes, document. And it's got to stop. We've got to stop. And it's not just for me. The new people, the younger people coming into the business, they are so vulnerable. And education is the only way we're going to stop it.
Absolutely. Well, let me begin by saying that I am so sorry that you had that experience. It's such a common experience for women in general, but it still hurts, when you
Absolutely.
realize how Yeah.
It's not limited to the transportation industry.
No.
Of course not, it is. And we have to, like I said, education. We have to educate these people to know that it's not acceptable. It's just not acceptable in this day and age. It's not acceptable. You don't have to be a doormat. You don't have to be a punching bag. And there's mental abuse that goes unnoticed, unreported, because it's just words. You know, when you say, well, this was said, that was said, and I remember the officer saying, well, did he touch you? No, he just used words. Well, then what's there to report? But then later on, when you don't report it, and they say, well, why didn't you make a report? Well, it's making the victim feel guilty, and we're all worried that we're going to look bad. We're always worried that we're going to look stupid, and we've got to teach these people that if you look stupid, then you just look stupid.
Right. So we're gonna shift completely away from that topic. I thank you for touching on it in the way that was most comfortable for you, and I apologize for even having to ask. But without asking these questions, I can't help humanize this story, because I think, as I've mentioned to other board members, I had no idea that this particular industry was as rampant, because I can't imagine in any work environment that I've ever had having to deal with any. I mean, a comment is one thing, but anything worse than a comment, I know what to do. There's recourse and to have it handled. But what I found so surprising is the fact that rather than handle it in this industry, it just gets covered up, and nothing gets done about it. And so I really appreciate you sharing with me in the best way possible your experience. So we're going to shift the question about challenges that you've experienced that have absolutely nothing to do with that, but just in general, what challenges did you face or are you currently facing in the industry?
That's a hard question.
Oh,
Challenges, okay?
You can overcome them, though. It's okay. If you overcame it, that's fine.
Well, the challenges that I face are these computers and the electronics and the technology. And I go back and I think, the bookkeeping and stuff, I took bookkeeping and I got 100% in the class, but it was a pencil and a piece of paper. Okay, I put it here and it goes here and it comes out to 0. I did it right, but on this computer it says, no, you can't put it there, but that's where I want it to go.
Yeah.
Like kicking me out. So I have to say that modern technology has really, really stumped me for a while. Now, some of it I've overcome. And of course, I'm like Ann the other day. She wrote, I had a multitask computer deal and I did it without calling anybody and I finished it. And I thought, well, I know that feeling. But, sometimes you know that it took this person, say you, 20 minutes to do it, and it took me an hour and a half, and I just, it is really, the technology just eats me up. But once I get some of it, I've done all right. I figured out the e-logs, I figured out the Qualcomm, I figured out the DDLS, the driver daily logs. So eventually I go to Google and I Google it and print it because I can't follow instructions worth a damn. So the technology, the modern technology, the computers on the truck. Of course, we've had computers on the truck. I've been dealing with that for years and years and years. But some of the stuff, now it gives us the code where we used to have to do a flash code, and you had to know your books and stuff. So it is a challenge, but it's interesting. It really is interesting. And of course, I have a grandson that is so technology educated. So when I'm trying to do it, give that to me. And I'm going, give it to me, Grandma. And I'm going, keep your hands off. I'm figuring it out. Leave me alone. But he can't stand it. Can't stand it. So.
Well, you tell that grandson of yours, I said, that you already like to overcome. You are like me. You eat challenges for breakfast.
Yeah.
So just show me. That's one of the things that I think, and I'm going to say this for people that are younger, as you interact with people that are older, understand that technology, we were raised with computers, we were raised with all of this. They were not. And so
you have to be patient.
You have to be patient, but not only do you have to be patient, you have to be willing to help teach. Yes, you can do it 10 times faster, but it's not about you being able to do it because you may not always be present to do it for this person who needs to be able to do it. So how do you bridge that gap? You take the time. And it honestly, it takes the time. Go ahead.
Step by step. Well, sometimes, people don't realize that there's, you automatically assume that somebody knows something. Just like on that truck, if you sit into the truck, I'm going to automatically assume that you know how to start it. But I can remember when I got my first laptop and my first QuickBooks program, and my son-in-law was a pharmacist, and he developed programs, and he grabs that laptop and he starts doing stuff, and I'm going, whoa, wait a minute. He said, what? I said, where's the key to start this thing? You didn't show me how to start it. Right. He just automatically assumed that I knew. And it's the same thing. It would be like me putting him in the truck and saying, okay, you need to go down the road. I would assume that he'd know how to shift it, and they didn't. So yeah, very definitely step by step. Patience, please.
Patience. Absolutely. Yes. You guys hear that? A legend, a veteran, someone that we owe a great deal to is asking for patience. So let's make sure that we answer the call for patience. And if you encounter Miss Idella on the road, and if you are so fortunate that she even bothers to ask you for help, you take her step by step, because I said so. So we're going to shift over. So we know that the industry is changing. We know that they've lowered the driving age, and we know that we're seeing this influx of younger and more female drivers into the industry. Again, because this is a Real Women in Trucking interview, what's some advice that you have for new female truck drivers?
Again and again and again, I see on social media, I want to become a truck driver. What do I need to do? What's the best company? What's this, that, nothing? It's okay to ask for all of that, but you got to research. You got to know what you're getting into. You need to. There's plenty. It's right here on this thing right here. Everything's right there. Even our website. Go to our website. Watch all the videos. Desiree does a jam up job of telling you what to look for and what not to look for. Pay attention. Research. Know that it's not the easiest thing in the world, and it's different. You can get your CDL and you can stay home. You just got to be creative. I did for years. I was home. Education. Go to a good school. I recommend community colleges, definitely. There's nothing wrong with the schools as long as the school's not attached to the company you're going to go to work for. And there's some of them that are good. And stars in your eyes, don't let them convince you that, quote unquote, I can become an owner operator and I can make $100,000 the first year, because it's not going to happen. It's even, I didn't, but I guess it's education. I don't know. I would love to mentor the young people coming into the business, but I can't help you find a school because I never went to school. I taught myself. I'm more, after you get in the truck, I'm more helping you every day on your daily problems, your daily issues. But again, education, be aware of what you're getting into, because some of these community outreaches, if that's the word I'm looking for, these young women, these young people are at a disadvantage, economically poor backgrounds, abusive relationships, and they're promising them this. They're going to give them an education, pay for the school, but they don't tell them what's involved, that they're going to have to leave their homes, or they're going to have to leave their kids, or they don't tell them that they need a really good support system, which some of them don't have. It can be overcome. We have a lot of ladies in the group that overcame, took their kids with them, homeschooled them. They solved their problems. You got to be a problem solver. You have to be a problem solver. Every day you have to solve a problem. So I didn't even answer your question.
No, you did answer my question. You gave a ton of advice. We talked about education. We talked about making sure that you connect with Real Women in Trucking. And just for those of you that don't know how to find us, we're realwomenintrucking.org. Visit us. There's all kinds of wonderful resources. You can even connect with the organization. There's even more robust advice and feedback and opinions and things that you want to know about the trucking industry. We also talked about the fact that you would like to mentor, but not mentor in terms of how do I make a decision to enter this industry? More so, hey, I'm a trucker, I need some day-to-day help. And I think that the idea of mentorship, having someone to hold your hand, because from what I understand about truck driver training, it's the same as any kind of training. There's no training where they can teach you every single possible scenario that exists.
That's
So part of that is that problem solving that you mentioned. And even part of that problem solving is knowing what your knowledge base is. Who can you call? Where can you find what you need to solve the problem?
even we haul credit cards and stuff like that. We haul products that have to be temperature controlled. And I'm not really experienced on the reefer unit. I do have some enough, but if I have a problem, I have people that I call, like Michelle Kitchen, Michelle Scolari. I have people that I call when I have a problem, and well, I would love if they would give a semester of mechanics on the trucks for drivers, but they don't. So that's the kind of thing that I like to do. Even Desiree's called me for advice, and I've called her for advice when I didn't know how to run a program on the deal. To tell me how to do it. Well, then we had a problem with something, and they call me. Every once in a while, even us old ladies have problems and have to figure stuff out. What am I looking for? What's the sound making? We've got a little bag of tricks, experiences, and people to call. And like I said, I even have a not a mentor program, but I have a group of people that I can call on when I need help. Everybody should have somebody.
Absolutely. So can we talk a little bit about how you build those relationships?
Ooh. Well, I come in contact with a lot of people through the group, through Real Women in Trucking. Of course, as you know, I'm a trustee now.
Yes,
I have and I'm the vice president of the Cheer Foundation. So in dealing with these people, the clients, so to speak, I get in contact and the different groups. And I just, over the years, I'm meeting this person, that person, and I hand out my card and I tell them, call me. So that's how I built. Now, social media is wonderful. I mean, we used to stop on the side of the road and help each other. Now we have social media, and it's a resource, and that's what I do. If they post something on I'm not beyond calling somebody on the phone when I see the post and I say, oh, I know that person, or I know, and I'll PM, call me. I have the answer, or I might have the answer, or I have somebody you can call. I just keep calling people and going to meetings and handing out my card, and they give me their cards, and then I get in trouble.
Well, you told us you were a troublemaker, so that is to be expected. Yes. Now, you mentioned that you are the vice president of TIER. Tell me, what is TIER?
Truckers Emergency Assistance Responders. We step up when everybody else steps back. We are the people you call when you have been abandoned by your company out in the cold. Sometimes it's your fault, sometimes it isn't. Most of the time, a lot of these companies are bad business models. And you fill out the application, and we get you into shelter, try to help you solve your problems, try to get you home, get you food. A lot of times when they're abandoned, there's nothing. There's nothing. We had a young lady abandoned by her she got in a dispute with her dispatcher, and he had somebody pick up her truck with a wrecker and left her and her cat and her boyfriend in the middle of Colorado, a town of 600. The temperature was about 40 degrees during COVID. No place for them to stay. Took their truck 20 minutes. She had 20 minutes to get her stuff out of the truck. No place to go. That was a real challenge. That was a real challenge. But we got her safe. We got her in a motel. We got her covered for the night. But they do those, and they never pick good spots. This was a town of 600. No Lyft, no Uber, no taxi. And the one motel was full of construction workers. And they couldn't stay in the little truck stop. There was a coffee cup, I think. And that was when COVID started. So nobody could hang. You couldn't stay inside. You couldn't sit inside. So it was a real conundrum. It really was. But that's what we do. We rescue, and we do expand it to have a little medical, but not a lot. We help them. Sometimes we help them get a job, or we point them in the right directions, or we make suggestions. But that's what we do. We help those people that are abandoned by their carriers.
Awesome. So you have now moved into trustee at Real Women in Trucking, and it would be irresponsible of me not to ask you, in your words, what's the main goal of Real Women in Trucking?
Oh, you would ask me that.
I would. I did.
You did. It's education and to change the industry, to step in where everybody else is, to make a real difference and to know the difference. You have to make the difference. When I say education, I'm talking about training carriers. The trainers need to be trained. The trainers have to have a criteria, a curriculum, and accountability. And that's not going to happen unless we just literally pound the government that this has got to be done. And it is happening. It is happening. It's happening as we speak. Every day it's happening. And you know who did it? You know who did it?
I don't know.
Trucking did it. Desiree did it. Desiree did it. She is the point person. She started it, and she has stuck it through thick and thin until when people put her down and talk bad. Do I agree with everything Desiree says? No, not always. She doesn't always agree with me, but she has the temerity to stick it out. And you have to stick it out. You got to stick to your guns. And we've got to educate these people and tell them that no, hell no, you're not putting these people on the road. And I'd have to sit down and read our mission.
No, you do not. That was a great, I asked for in your words. Anyone that wants to know what the official mission is can visit realwomenintrucking.org.
Well, education, advocacy, and what it's all right in there, but it all says the same thing. We got to stick up for each other, and we got to stick together, and you got to be able to take the heat. And at this point in time, I'm 72 years old. If you want to pick on me, go ahead. I'll pick right back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now we get to the fun part of my interview, because I get to ask fun questions, and I like fun questions. What is the most unique load you have ever hauled that you can talk about without having to shoot me?
No, not a problem. It was a load of frogs, a load of tadpoles. I picked up a load, oxygenated, they're cardboard oxygenated barrels, and they have tadpoles in them. And they last about 48 hours, and I hauled them from Georgia up to Little Rock to the duck preserve. The person, I was working hauling carpet, and the person that ran our store or our distribution in Little Rock was part of the duck preserve. And so I hauled a load of tadpoles, a load of frogs to the duck preserve, and they poured them out in the water, and they grow up and they go frog gigging. So a load of tadpoles.
You know what? I was expecting a lot of things. I was not
a load of frogs.
Tadpoles.
Load of frogs.
Oh,
the most unusual place I went was the Eiffel Tower in Las Vegas.
Okay.
I had a load of furniture, And I went and checked it out, and oh, that dock's going to be easy. But when I got there, he said, can't come till 5 o'clock. And when I got there, he says, you're not going to that dock. He says, you're going to make a left-hand turn and you're going to go up. And I went up this ramp that just had little concrete deals on each side. And I think it was the 4th or 5th floor. And when I got to it, I didn't fit through the door. And I had to unbolt my mirrors to get through the door. And I got in there and got unloaded. And there was 2 or 3 of us. But coming back out, I didn't have any mirrors, because when you're narrow and skinny and you're up in the air and you're wanting to watch that mirror and watch them tires, and I didn't have any mirrors. Oh my God, I didn't think I'd ever get on. But I got down to the road, and then when I bolted my mirrors back up, because we didn't have power mirrors back then, and they didn't fold in. They were West Coast mirrors. I never got them straight. I never got them bolted upright again. Everything always looked like it was turning over. So.
Oh my goodness. Okay. What is so as a little kid, there was this Pee Wee Herman movie, and there was a trucker in the movie. And so I always want to know, what's your most unusual on the road experience?
Oh. I wish Frank Ziegler was here. I'm not going to tell you that one.
Darn.
No, can't. I'd have to think about it. I don't know.
Okay, right, we will move on from that. Let's see. Can you tell me the most unusual thing you've seen at a truck stop that made you laugh or smile?
Oh,
not anything, but it doesn't have to be bad.
It was Walmart. It was Walmart distribution center. And I had pulled in and I was checking in, and this guy was checking out. And I looked over there and I thought, that has got to be the ugliest kid I've ever seen in my entire life. And I turned to say something to the security guard, and I realized that it was a monkey with a diaper on, and he was climbing all over the truck. So there you go. There's the most, just a monkey in a diaper climbing all over the truck. Of course, I didn't. It would have been a shame if I'd insulted the driver and told him his kid was ugly, but I didn't. But I did think it. That's terrible of me, but I did think it.
No, that's all right. I won.
And that's
a goat.
I was walking. I got stopped to walk my dogs, and I kept looking at this lady, and I thought, boy, that's a strange looking dog. And it was a gal in a truck. And when I finally got back in my truck and leaving, she had a goat on a leash, and she was walking her goat. So there you go. There you go.
So all of your interesting stories either involve frogs, monkeys, or goats.
Well, yeah, it's all animals. What can I say?
It's always animals. It's always animals. Okay. Oh, hi there. Who is that?
That's Mr. Felix, and he's a heathen.
Hello, Mr. Felix. How are you?
Yeah, him just a kitten. Him just a baby.
Him so precious. Well, I do have to close this out with 2 serious questions. I like to have fun. I like to laugh, to break up the ice a little bit. But now I've got to ask 2 very, very important questions. And these are for you, as though you were speaking to the people in our audience. Why is it important to support the mission of Real Women in Trucking?
Why is it important? Because without us, there's a lot of things that would have went by the by-side. Our mission, of course, is education and advocacy and everything. But without us, there's going to be some things that fall through the cracks. And I really think that Real Women in Trucking is a group of women that all drive their trucks. We're all grassroots, and we all have the industry ourselves at heart. And I'm not giving you a good answer. I'm sorry.
You're giving me a great stop. You're giving me a great answer. This does not have to be. So here's the thing. Don't get hung up on perfect, because if you were giving me the perfect answer, this would be a very boring interview.
It's important because the people that we represent and the people who we are, we're all genuine. There's not a lady in the group that I wouldn't stand behind 100%. Whatever they were doing, we've got some real ladies that are really, and they're not in it for themselves. They're not in it for themselves. They're in it just like I am, to improve the industry and to see people that are coming up behind us, because I'm on the back end of my career. I'm 72 years old. I might drive another 3 years, and then again I may not. It just depends. But I'm not the voice and the body of what's coming up. You are the younger generation. I don't want to say just women, because it's men too.
Mm-hmm.
Diversity. It just, I can't say it enough. Workplace violence, workplace harassment is unacceptable. And under the eyes of God, we are all equal. No color, no age, no gender, no persuasion.
Amen. Amen. You get no disagreement from me with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to sit here with Miss Idella. And Miss Idella, can I tell you thank you for all the years that you have been vital? So truckers are, in fact, the lifeblood of this country. Things do not move from one place to another without them. Nothing moves. Not the shirt I'm wearing, not this gorgeous wig that I love so much, not the lipstick I'm wearing, not anything in the background, nothing, not the gas we use to power our cars and the fuel to power our homes. Nothing moves without truckers. So I am immensely grateful as a consumer that you have dedicated your life, even though it was accidental. It's just something that kind of, it chose you, you didn't choose it. I'm glad that you answered that call. And not only am I glad that you answered that call, I'm glad that you saw the industry, saw the reality, and took the proactive step to be part of the change so that you could leave something better.
It's all Desiree. It's all Desiree's fault.
Well, we will blame Desiree, but regardless of how you got here, I just want to thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. Well, I didn't have you. You were trucking before
I was before you were born.
Before I was born, but not by as much as you think. We'll just say that. Okay. We'll never tell how old I am because people don't believe me when I do. But saying all that to say, guys, this has been another edition of Real Women in Trucking. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to catch you next time. Miss Idella, before we go, though, is there any last words?
Any last words? No, you said it all. We are the lifeblood of the country, and I just, keep on trucking. Be proud of what you do. Pride in your ride.
Ooh, I like that. Pride in it. Keep on trucking. Pride in your ride. I'm now going to be using those in my everyday vocabulary. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been great sitting with you and having this conversation for you. Miss Idella, have the best day. I'm going to stop this recording now. Okay.